I still remember the exact moment my world shattered in that briefing room. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like angry hornets, and the air smelled of polished boots and fresh coffee. I was standing at attention in my crisp uniform, sergeant stripes gleaming on my sleeve, heart steady after 8 years of proving myself in this man's world. My name is Elena Reyes, and for as long as I could remember, the military had been my real home. But my older sister, Captain Isabella Reyes, was the commanding officer of our entire company. Blood, family, the one person I thought would always have my back. We grew up together in a single wide trailer, sharing the same dreams of serving our country. She made rank faster than anyone I'd ever seen, and I followed right behind her, proud as hell. "We're unstoppable together, little sis," she used to whisper during late-night training runs. I believed her. That morning's briefing was supposed to be routine, updates on the upcoming field exercise, nothing more. I had prepped my section perfectly. 22 soldiers under my command sat in neat rows, eyes forward, ready. Then Isabella stepped to the podium, her voice clipped and cold. She didn't even look at me at first. She just started reading from a clipboard. Effective immediately, Sergeant Elena Reyes is relieved of her rank and responsibilities due to repeated failure to maintain unit standards. The words hit me like a rifle butt to the chest. I blinked, waiting for the joke, the punchline. There was none. My sister, my own flesh and blood, looked straight at me, her face blank as stone, and said, "Step forward, Sergeant," or should I say, Private. The room went dead silent. My cheeks burned. I could feel every set of eyes on me. 8 years of blood, sweat, and sacrifice gone in one sentence. I wanted to scream, to ask her why, but all I could do was step forward like a ghost. My hands shook as I removed my sergeant insignia right there in front of everyone. I felt naked, exposed, broken. What I didn't know that day was that this wasn't just about rank. This was personal, and the revenge that followed would shock every single person in that room, including me. I stood there, stripped, literally and emotionally, while my sister continued the briefing as if she hadn't just destroyed me. My mind raced back over the last few weeks, trying to find the moment I had failed her. Was it the time I corrected her in front of the colonel about supply logistics? Or the family argument at Mom's birthday, where I finally told her she'd become cold and power hungry? After the briefing, I walked out alone. No one spoke to me. The hallway felt endless. I locked myself in the bathroom stall and cried until my ribs hurt. How could she do this? We were sisters. I had covered for her mistakes more times than I could count. Late reports, personal calls during duty hours, even lying to the chain of command when her personal life spilled into work. And this is how she repaid me? Public humiliation in front of the entire company? That night, back in the barracks, the pain turned into something sharper, anger. I replayed every childhood memory, every promise we'd made. Blood is thicker than water, she used to say. Turns out, for her, rank was thicker than blood. I learned later, through quiet whispers from friends, that Isabella had been threatened with a poor evaluation if her unit didn't show zero tolerance for any perceived weakness. She chose to make an example of me to save her own career. My little sister, the one she used to braid hair for, became collateral damage. The next few days were hell. I was reassigned to menial tasks, cleaning the motor pool, filing endless paperwork. Soldiers I had trained and led now looked at me with pity, or worse, avoided my eyes completely. I stopped eating. Sleep became a stranger. Every time I saw Isabella striding through the courtyard in her captain's bars, I felt my heart crack a little more. But then something shifted inside me. The pain didn't disappear, it hardened into steel. I started documenting everything, every order she had bent, every favor she had demanded from me, every time she had put family above the mission. I wasn't going to beg for my rank back. I was going to make sure the truth came out. And then, on the fourth day after the demotion, everything changed again. During the morning formation, Isabella called the company to attention for another briefing. I stood in the back row, now just Private Reyes, trying to disappear. She began speaking about leadership accountability. The words tasted like poison. But before she could finish her sentence, the impossible happened. 22 soldiers, every single member of my old squad, stood up in perfect unison. Without a word, they turned and walked out of the room, boots echoing like thunder. Not one of them looked at her. They walked straight past me, each one giving me a small, respectful nod. Isabella's face went white. The rest of the company sat frozen. She stammered, trying to regain control, but the damage was done. In that single, silent walkout, those 22 men and women had spoken louder than any words could. They chose loyalty to the leader who actually earned it, not the one wearing the rank. I stood there, tears burning in my eyes, watching my sister realize she had lost more than just my respect. She had lost the trust of the entire unit. The walkout didn't end there. Word spread like wildfire through the base. By noon, the battalion commander had called an emergency investigation. Those 22 soldiers submitted written statements, every one of them detailing how Isabella had used her position for personal grudges, how she had favored certain troops while punishing others, and how she had deliberately targeted her own sister to cover her own shortcomings. I was called in for questioning the next morning. I laid everything on the table. The texts, the late-night calls where she asked me to falsify reports, the way she had threatened me privately if I ever challenged her in public. My voice didn't shake this time. I spoke with the quiet strength of someone who had nothing left to lose. 3 days later, the results came down. Isabella was relieved of command. She was demoted 2 ranks and reassigned to a desk job at a remote training facility. No more leading troops, no more power plays. The woman who stripped me of everything in front of an audience now stood in front of the same company while her own captain's bars were removed. I didn't smile when I heard the news. I didn't feel joy. I felt peace. 2 weeks after that, the colonel called me into his office. He reinstated my rank and promoted me to staff sergeant. The same soldiers who had walked out stood in formation outside, cheering as I walked out with my new insignia. They had risked their own careers for me. That kind of loyalty, that's the real family you choose. Isabella tried to call me once, months later. Her voice was small, broken. She said she was sorry, that the pressure had gotten to her, that she never meant it to go this far. I listened quietly, then said the only thing that still mattered. You didn't just demote me, Isabella. You taught me that blood doesn't make you family. Loyalty does. I hung up without waiting for a reply. Today, I lead my own platoon. Those same 22 soldiers are still with me, stronger than ever. Every morning when I look in the mirror, I see a woman who was broken in public and rebuilt even stronger. The military didn't save me. The truth did, and the quiet courage of people who refused to stay silent. If there's one thing I've learned from the deepest betrayal of my life, it's this. Sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you become the ones who hurt you the most. But when you stand tall in your truth, the right people will stand up and walk out with you. And that is the kind of justice no rank can ever take away.